Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of Battling 101 Team Building. Today we're going to be making a Volcarona team. Now, Volcarona is a Pokemon that I think is very viable in the current OU metagame, especially with the popularity of Mega Metagross. That thing is very annoying, and if you use the bulky set in particular, Volcarona is very bulky, and it's one of the better responses to Mega Metagross, well, as long as Stealth Rocks are off the field, obviously, but it's just a very solid setup Pokemon that can sweep teams once certain conditions are met. So some of these conditions, if we're going to be using a bulky Roost Quiverdance set, Heatran, that's one of the big ones. We also want to watch out for stuff like Chansey, Charizard forms, like particularly Y and X. Y has been seeing a lot of increased usage recently. Obviously, Talonflame. I guess you could also say Keldeo too, if it's only Fiery Dance and Bug Buzz. Just stuff like that. Fire and Bug aren't the best coverage moves, but it just gets by. So we're going to need some support for this Volcarona, so we're going to use Latias. Now, Latias is very important for this to work because it has Defog, meaning that Stealth Rocks won't hamper Volcarona ideally. So, and it also helps against especially Charizard Y. It helps a lot against Charizard Y, helps a lot against Keldeo, and it's just a very solid complement to Volcarona. Other things to take note of is, I have to say, the Landorus, Scarf Landorus in particular. Scarf Landorus in particular is very annoying. It's always nice to have some sort of ground immunity on your team. If your team does not have a ground immunity, make sure that you have one if you're running some kind of bulky offense like I am. So we're going to pair it off with Mega Gyarados. We're going to pair this Latias and Volcarona combination with Mega Gyarados. Now, Mega Gyarados is nice because just some things that give Volcarona trouble, such as Keldeo, it gives Gyarados like a very good opportunity to set up and just fire off a Dragon Dance and sweep your opponent's team. It also helps because they complement each other, because Ferrothorn is one of the best responses to Mega Gyarados, and Ferrothorn is complete setup bait for Volcarona. And what else? Yeah, just stuff like Altaria. Altaria really does a number to this core, so we're gonna use some priority here. As I always say, you want some priority in your teams, especially in Oras overused. Now, Scissor is great because Bullet Punch gives you much needed priority to help you fend off against Dragon Dance Altaria, as well as stuff like Gengar. Gengar can be very annoying to deal with, especially since it speed ties with Latias, as well as Alakazam. Mega Alakazam in particular has been seeing an increase in usage recently, so it's always nice to be prepared for that, and Scissor definitely helps out with that. And just the fact that like fairy types in general are very annoying to deal with. Bulky fairy types such as Clefable, you don't want to bring in your Volcarona all the time willy-nilly, especially since some Clefables, they're Calm Mind, and you don't want to get into Calm Mind wars with Clefable early game. Also, some run Thunder Wave. So if you have like another response to Clefable, and in this case we have Scissor, it really helps out your team. So we have priority here, we have our two sweepers, so to speak, and then we have the Defog in Latias and the ground immunity. So you see here that Gyarados and Volcarona are Stealth Rock weak, so it's definitely nice to have a Defogger here. And then we're going to round it out with Mew. Now, Mew is also very good against this, good for this team, is because Stall is very, very annoying to deal with, especially stuff like Chansey. Chansey is very annoying to deal with, and Mew definitely helps out with that. It gives us some sort of glue for this team because Mew is a very good Pokemon, is very versatile, and another thing that really hurts this team is the fact that you don't really have much of a backbone, so to speak. Volcarona and Gyarados, they're Stealth Rock weak Pokemon, they're conditional Pokemon, and they're not Pokemon that you can bring out all the time because Stealth Rocks are going to be on your field, you know, sometimes, and Latias can't always prevent those Stealth Rocks from going up. So Mew is a very important Pokemon to this team since it provides some sort of defense to this offense, so to speak. And then we're going to round this out with Garchomp. Now, because this Mew is going to be Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, Soft Boiled, and Knockoff, that's the Stall Breaker set, we're going to be using Stealth Rock Garchomp. Now, I'm not going to be using Focus Sash Stealth Rock Garchomp, I'm going to be using the Rocky Helmet, the bulkier version, with Dragon Tail, Fire Blast, Earthquake, and Stealth Rocks with a lot of defense investment. And the reason I'm doing this is because Bisharp is a bitch to this team, so it's very important that you have something fat to take it out. Also, Talonflame. We mentioned Talonflame before. This is also very annoying to deal with, so Rocky Helmet Garchomp just racks up the residual chip damage with Brave Bird Recoil, and then Rocky Helmet, and then it's multiplied by Rough Skin, and just the defensive prowess of Garchomp. It really helps against teams with Talonflame, because this team, as you can see here, it really doesn't have a flying resist. It's very Mega Pinsir weak actually, but you know, Mega Pinsir hasn't really seen a lot of usage recently, so yeah, just be very cognizant that this team is not perfect. This team has its flaws like any other team, so just make sure that whenever you use this team, make sure that your Garchomp is healthy if you see a Talonflame. Or a Mega Pinsir, but those are less common, as I said before. So just to recap, we started off with Volcarona, then we went for Latias because we needed the defog. We paired Volcarona as a sweeper with Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados complements Volcarona very well. They cover each other very decently in terms of just like what they beat and what kinds of Pokemon they can set up on. Then we went for Scissor for the priority as well as the additional coverage against stuff like fairy types. Also for momentum purposes, it's always nice to have, you know, Scissor lures and stuff like Heatran or Skarmory or whatever. That's just a perfect setup for Gyarados or Volcarona depending on what they bring in. Then we have Mew for the stall breaking / glue purposes. And then we have Garchomp as our main response to some of the things that these 5 Pokemon are weak to, as well as Stealth Rocks and just another bulky body in general, contributing to our offensive bulky core. Alright, so here's the finished products. We have Volcarona here with 236 EVs in HP, 148 defense, 124 speed. That puts you at 267. Now this is good because it outspeeds Jolly Max Speed Breloom and Adamant Max Speed Gyarados, as well as stuff like After a Dragon Dance base 130s and below. So that includes stuff like Starmie or a Weavile, just stuff like that, just really fast stuff in general, but you still have the bulk to compensate for it. Now we have Draco Meteor, Psyshock, Defog, Healing Wish. Healing Wish is always nice for stuff like Mew or Gyarados or Garchomp or Scissor, especially if they get burned. Also, I guess Volcarona. It works for everything really. You just use Healing Wish based on your win condition for a particular game. It's just self-explanatory, max, and timid nature. Now we have Waterfall, Earthquake, Crunch, Dragon Dance for the Gyarados. Again, very simple, max attack, max speed, 4 HP, nothing really spectacular here. And then we have Mew. Now, I run a little more speed than everyone else. You could say I speed creep, but yeah, speed creeping is pretty important, especially on taunt users like Mew. Now, this Mew has speed crept other Mew, so you're able to taunt them and just beat them out so they can't Will-O-Wisp you, and then you can just finish them off with Toxic. Very nice to have. Also, Will-O-Wisp for burning stuff in general, crippling stuff like Tyranitar or Garchomp if need be. This Mew is also notably faster than the bulky Rocky Helmet Garchomp that's been seeing a lot more use recently, so you can taunt that and Will-O-Wisp. So if you predict that your opponent's going to lead off with a variant like that, depending on their team, then just start off with Mew and taunt, and then Will-O-Wisp or knockoff or whatever. So this is the bulky Garchomp that's been seeing a lot of use recently. It has Rocky Helmet, Stealth Rock, Dragon Tail, Earthquake, and Fire Blast. It really helps for getting chip damage off with Dragon Tail as well as with Rocky Helmet and Rough Skin. That combination is always great. We have max speed, we have 160 defense, and then we have 96 speed. Now 96 speed is good, so it outspeeds Bisharp, which hits about 240, as well as Breloom. Now Breloom hits about 262, I believe, so this is good. You can always hit them with a Fire Blast and kill them, or you can get up a Stealth Rocks before they try to spore you, so they'll be forced to Mach Punch if they want to kill off your Garchomp, unless they want to take a hit first. And then we have Scissor. Now I run more speed on my Scissor than most other people, and this is because of Belly Drum Azumarill. Now Belly Drum Azumarill hits about 176, I believe, so I just run enough speed to go for 178. I run 208 HP and then max attack, Bullet Punch, Superpower, Knockoff, and U-Turn. So that's the team there, and I have a late night laddering session with some of my 2Ts that I will upload shortly, so I'll see you then. Peace out.